you have any recollection of the Cobra Kai motto?
Yes, strike fast, strike hard, and no mercy.
You know, it kind of sounds like the new Viper 908.
Oh, yeah, but they use the roundhouse kick to the face for the FTIR and ramen.
Yeah, it's got smart spectral processing, so it kind of sweeps and reads the compound.
It doesn't have to beat the crap of any teenagers.
Makes it kind of boring. I like teenagers getting beat up. Even though it won't beat up a teenager, it's still pretty badass. It's kind of like having Mr. Miyagi in your corner.
Yeah, so check out the new champ at 908devices.com and give no mercy to Mystery Chemicals. And while we're on that, did you know in 2024, 138 hazmat responders in the U.S. were injured, and that is 138 too many. Your team's mission is clear. Do your job, do it well, and get everybody home safe.
138 too many. Are we sure? Like maybe there's somebody in there that deserved it. All right.
Either way,
if that's your goal, in order to do that, you need training that works in the real world, not just theory.
Work with the hazmat guys. We are a top rated by JM Powers 23, 24, and 25, and we're bringing thousands of hours of cutting edge equipment and fully customized programs built around your team and location.
It's 3 easy steps. You schedule a call. We tailor an incredible training program for your needs, and then you just execute the best in-class training on your turf.
Yeah, so Q4 is limited, so secure your team spot today. Hey everybody, we are at an undisclosed location doing our show live.
We're not allowed to disclose this location?
We might not make it out.
Oh,
yes.
It is an insane training center on one of the coasts. We won't mention which one, but it is set up so cool. We wanted to give you a little bit of preview while we went through 5.2 of our classifications for DOT.
So let's get into the organic peroxide. Probably my favorite of all the placards because it is a unique one where, in short, we have the fuel and the oxidizer in the same package, and the only thing we're missing is the heat. So these are what they call bivalent OO structures, right? So you have these two oxygens that are often unstable and capable of rapid exothermic decomposition and even explosions at points.
Now, organic peroxides are really easy to identify because they have the word peroxide right in the name. Not hydrogen peroxide, that's a different category because there's no organics attached to that. But some examples of these organic peroxides are going to be things like benzyl peroxide, methyl ethyl ketone peroxide, and these are used as both they are both inhibitors or initiators in plastics and manufacturing.
Now this placard is unique because it has the red on the upper half and the yellow on the bottom half, and you'll see organic peroxide over it. It will be a division 5.2 on the markings.
Now, despite whatever other damage this chemical could do to us, the primary hazard for this as us as first responders is going to be the thermal instability. When these things come not necessarily out of its container, but out of the container holding the container, i.e. like a refrigerator or an ice bath or something keeping it cold, they can become thermally unstable. They can reach a point where they're actually, the decomposition rate because of the temperature causes the temperature to rise, which causes more decomposition, which causes more heat.
Right, and this will lead to explosive. I want to say explosive, but because they go so quick, it seems explosive, but it can be explosive, especially if they're in a container, right? If that container is overwhelmed, so they will generate huge volumes of toxic gases. This is one to watch out for.
And this stems from a double oxygen bond that is held together, and on each side of it contains an organic structure. This double oxygen bond is highly unstable and is actually the source of that insecurity. It is what is known as a peroxide radical.
Now, these are, at times, friction, shock, temperature sensitive, And they're definitely going to, well, I'm not going to say definitely. Most often they need some type of temperature support. And that could be in the form of like a freezer, a refrigerator, or possibly, and the vast majority of them are just slightly, maybe an air conditioner might do it.
So this is definitely one of those situations where it is totally okay to cut your loss and evacuate the area and kind of write off the structure, the area that's in it, knowing that this thing is going to just explode. If you're gonna try to dilute it, you do want to use kind of copious amounts of water in conjunction with evacuating the scene to help minimize that explosive risk. You can try to cool unaffected containers with water. However, keep in mind whatever the temperature of the water is. Just because we're using water doesn't always mean you're cooling. If that product came out at minus 41 degrees and that's what it was being stored at, throwing 50-degree water on it is going to make the situation worse, not better.
That's why we want to identify and isolate these ones specifically. All the times I've ever went to one of these incidents, the people that worked with them knew they worked with them, and they knew, yeah, those are the ones right over there. So we want to try to avoid the sources of ignition because those gases could possibly be flammable, heat, or even mechanical shock.
So a great case study for this in the transportation world is going to be in Arkansas 2017, where you had a transportation incident involving organic peroxides resulted in an uncontrolled decomposition, which is exactly what happens. These things start to cycle in their runaway, and the failure to recognize and isolate the reacting containers rapidly led to an acceleration of the decomposition, which then produces a tremendous amount of heat, and then rapidly leads to fire, and this resulted in several injuries.
Now, let's talk about the identification and hazard communication of this. We are going to look for placards and markings. Generally, the placarding is required when transportation over 454 kilograms, which is, in America units, 1,001 pounds of a hazard class, and for any quantity in certain Table 1 cases, such as like highly hazardous temperature-controlled peroxides, and then we're going to have the documentation and the shipping papers.
With the organic peroxides, there are special considerations that we need to be looking at before we make any kind of tactical decision. And this lands within the chemical and physical properties world, right? We want to know things like the minimum safe storage temperature, the self-accelerating decomposition temperature. While the ERG can be a great source for our operations people to kind of maintain a good distance, as a technician, we want to look at shipping manifests, safety data sheets to help provide those types of critical information. And if for whatever reason you can't find those specific items within an SDS, go online or to the books to find it, because you don't want to be operating around a organic peroxide without having a good understanding of when it's going to get pissed off to the point that there's no return.
One of the things we have to watch out for is incompatibilities. As with all chemicals, it doesn't like to hang out with some things, and these can react violently with specific extinguishing agents, such as water. Damn it. We could have dry chemicals or foam, because foam is mostly water. So, for example, certain organic peroxides or oxidized or metal mixtures can decompose explosively if water or incompatible chemical agents are applied. Hey, Mike, take a look around you and tell me how many lithium-ion batteries you have around you right now.
5 right here on my desk.
See, batteries are everywhere, and every department in the nation and, hell, the globe is starting to deal with battery fires on a regular basis.
And we are excited to tell you about a new product that's been proven to limit and control the battery fire propagation. It's from a brand called DeGeo, and they are chock full of hazmat experts who know that there is a better way for first responders to handle, store, and ship these at-risk lithium-ion batteries.
Yep, this product will solve your lithium-ion battery problems. It's lightweight, it works across all battery types, and we can say it lives up to the hype because we've actually tested it firsthand.
It's called ObexionFR, and it's part of a two-part system. The first part is a scientifically designed granular, and they pair that with a UN-certified paler drum. More importantly, ObexionFR is proven to reduce the toxic IDLH gases that are emitted when one of these batteries kick off. So all in all, it's going to help keep your team safe.
To check out more, go to thehazmatguys.dgeo.com. That's thehazmatguys.dgeo.
And as long as we're talking about batteries, we promised that we'd be looking into a solution for battery fires. And many companies have put their products in front of them, and many have been rejected by us. But there was one noteworthy one, because in our testing, it extinguished lithium-ion battery fires. But it's not a one-trick pony, right? It does multiple classes of fires. It also helps prevent fire from spreading and the lithium-ion batteries from reigniting.
And before that guy, I just saw a meme that was made for him on one of these alternate hazmat groups, and it was so good. I cannot wait for it to hit the public, because it'll land very good. But if before that guy starts writing to us, there are links in the show notes for UL Class A and B, as well as the BSI for 10 categories, including the lithium-ion batteries.
And we've actually put these things to the test. Like I said, we put out our own lithium-ion battery fires. I was personally impressed with the results, but we always suggest that you do your own myth busting. What's kind of cool about this product is it's a whole variety of different options, so it can integrate into whatever firefighting process you have. Check them out at Fire Suppression Solutions, or click on the link provided in the show notes.
And we can't use our typical firefighting thought processes when we're going to try to maybe smother one of these fires. Because of that double oxygen that's provided, it's bringing oxygen to the table. So the suppression agents that displace oxygen, like CO2, they don't actually remove the oxygen source. They'll remove it from the air, but they won't move it from the source of the reaction, which is really where this heat is being generated from. So when you do certain things, you actually have the ability, like CO2, believe it or not, is bringing oxygen to the party in some way, shape, or form. And that can actually cause things to burn hotter, faster, and more intense.
Now, with that acceleration of the heat and the gas generation, we're going to have some things that are going to pop off. Like, you're going to have maybe alkali metal peroxides, strong chlorates or nitrates, and those can react with the suppression agents to produce heat and or oxygen, or even other gases that will make up. So that will speed up the entire overall reaction, leading to a positive feedback or thermal runaway, sudden expansion, and even detonation.
Now, in some of the more worser case scenarios, the formation of unstable explosive compounds could be a result of using suppression methods that are incompatible with the product. You can cause oxidizers to form hazardous mixtures with the combustibles and the gases that are being released. These gases can spontaneously combust or even explode. We see this when water makes contact with water-reactive oxidizers. It's a very similar process. So even if we end up putting out the fire, we may create a situation that's far worse because of the gases and the toxic substances that are released.
Let's say we have that violent decomposition risk, right? We have a friction sensitive, we have a shock sensitive thing. Well, if you apply mechanical suppression things like, let's say, vigorous hose streams, or that sweeping of the foam, that mechanical movement for some sensitive oxidizers or organic peroxides can introduce enough energy to cause that violent exothermic decomposition or detonations.
Methyl ethyl ketone peroxide is a really good example, also sodium peroxide, of two peroxides, organic peroxides, that we wouldn't want to use water on because they can yield highly exothermic explosive reactions. It can also result in oxygen being released rapidly as part of a byproduct, and this could cause a flash fire or even an explosion.
Now, that's why we want to seriously think about either isolation or protecting exposures, because not evacuating or even failing to protect secondary exposures can lead to even greater casualties, as seen in historical ammonium nitrate disasters, such as the West Fertilizer chemical explosion, which happened in West Texas in 2013. Yeah. Just for a quick summary of that fire was at a fertilizer storage facility containing ammonium nitrate, which is an oxidizer, and it escalated to a massive explosion, killing 12 emergency responders and 3 residents, injuring over 260 people and destroying much of the surrounding community.
Now, we'll grant it that ammonium nitrate is not an organic peroxide, but we wanted to highlight the explosive potential of oxidizers in and of themselves. There are several other types of organic peroxide incidents that have happened, but this West Texas, the oxidizer portion of this is a really interesting case study. Most of the people who responded there were volunteers. They actually weren't even aware that the oxidizer that was there had the explosive potential. And this idea can run through to organic peroxides as well. So you really have to understand what is being stored in your first due area. They tried to, instead of just discounting and saying, well, the structure is going to burn and we need to walk away, they tried to do a firefighting effort, which actually could have made the situation worse and led to the detonation, which is exactly what we could see in an organic peroxide fire as well.
Now, the CSB did a highlight and an investigation of their awareness, and they found an insufficient pre-incident planning and the absence of critical information about the site hazards, which was all the contributing things about this tragedy.
And we actually understand as first responders a lot about ammonium nitrate, and we see situations over and over again where people are not fully educated. Imagine if we had a larger incident with an organic peroxide where even less information is understood and known about it.
Now, one more I would like to put out on is a little closer to home, is the Virginia Beach Fire Station oxygen cylinder fire of the great year of 2005. And this was a routine check at a fire station, led to a catastrophic fire, including medical oxygen cylinders. Now, oxygen is a strong oxidizer, and contrary to everybody's thoughts, it has no flammable limits. But this made materials in an EMS bag highly flammable, and the leak triggered a rapid fire culminating in an explosion.
Now, the fire, of course, was worsened by the improper use of cylinder equipment. They had gaskets that were crushed, which caused additional leaks. Additional oxygen was able to get out where it shouldn't have, making contact with some of these incompatible materials. So when we're using equipment that is designed for oxidizers and organic peroxides, we need to really understand what it is that we're dealing with, because every step of the way, you can have an incompatibility reaction occur at any given point in time.
Now, if we go back in time and examine those details of this fire, you're going to see that oxygen in a compressed gas that is not labeled, it's at a 5. So it's a non-flammable gas, but the chemical and physical properties make it an oxidizer. So the lesson in this is don't rely on one placard or label to make a decision. So you research the chemical and base it on that. And before we go, I'd like to thank Vinny for creating all this mayhem behind us.
Yes.
Nice job, Vinny.
If you can see, there's a dip tank, all props. There's a dip tank back there. There's lights. There's all sorts of, this is an amazing facility. And we got to run because we have an incredible hands-on scenario that we're planning for these students.